The Battle of Rorke's Drift, fought on 22-23 January 1879 during the Anglo-Zulu War, stands as one of the most remarkable defensive engagements in military history, capturing the imagination of historians, writers, and the general public alike. It occurred immediately after the catastrophic British defeat at Isandlwana, where over 1,000 imperial troops were killed, sending shockwaves through the British Empire and creating a sense of urgency and vulnerability along the border of the colony of Natal. Rorke's Drift was originally a small mission station and supply depot located near the Buffalo River, strategically positioned to serve as a crossing point between Natal and the Zulu Kingdom, as well as a logistical base for the British forces under Lord Chelmsford. Following the disaster at Isandlwana, a Zulu force numbering approximately 4,000 warriors under the command of Prince Debulamanzi Kampande, who had not participated in the earlier battle, moved to capitalize on the apparent weakness of the British frontier. Their goal was to overrun the station, gain control of supplies, and potentially strike deeper into Natal. Inside the station, roughly 150 defenders were stationed, including members of B Company of the 2nd Battalion, 24th Regiment of Foot, a handful of Royal Engineers, colonial auxiliaries, and civilians. With retreat impossible due to the surrounding terrain, the defenders understood that survival depended entirely on fortifying the mission and preparing for the impending onslaught. Lieutenants John Chard of the Royal Engineers and Gonville Bromhead of the 24th Foot took joint command and quickly organized improvised fortifications. Mealie bags, biscuit boxes, wagons, timber, and doors from buildings were hastily used to form barricades around the hospital, storehouse, and supply buildings, with a focus on creating choke points that could slow or disrupt Zulu advances. The defenders knew the hospital presented a particular risk. Its segmented rooms and lack of easy exit routes could turn it into a deadly trap if the Zulus breached its doors and windows. As the afternoon progressed, tension built as the defenders worked tirelessly to strengthen walls, organize ammunition, and position men at key firing points, all while knowing that a Zulu impi, trained for years in speed, discipline, and close combat, was rapidly approaching. By around 4:30 p.m., the first Zulu warriors appeared on the surrounding hills, their presence announced by war chants, the glitter of cowhide shields, and the rhythmic stamping of feet that conveyed both confidence and aggression. The initial assault was concentrated on the southern perimeter of the station, where repeated waves of warriors charged the barricades. The British defenders met them with disciplined volleys of Martini-Henry rifle fire, carefully timed to maximize casualties while conserving ammunition. But the Zulus pressed forward relentlessly, attempting to exploit any weaknesses in the improvised fortifications. Fighting soon spread to the hospital, where Zulu attackers hacked at doors and windows to gain entry. Inside, desperate hand-to-hand combat ensued, with defenders such as Privates Henry Hook, John Williams, William Jones, Alfred Henry Hook, and others confronting the attackers room by room. The wounded were evacuated through holes cut in interior walls, while the hospital gradually caught fire, forcing further consolidation of the inner defenses. Several men risked their lives multiple times to rescue injured comrades, carrying them across open courtyards under enemy fire, acts of valor that would later be recognized with Victoria Crosses. The intensity of the battle was amplified by smoke, heat, fatigue, and confusion, yet the defenders maintained remarkable discipline under conditions that would have overwhelmed many. Nightfall brought further danger, as the only illumination came from burning thatch and the flashes of rifle fire. Zulu warriors, undeterred by darkness, continued to press repeated assaults on the barricades, sometimes reaching within a few meters of the defenders before being repelled by bayonet charges or concentrated fire. The defenders rotated positions, managed ammunition carefully, and organized small groups to counter infiltration attempts, demonstrating improvisation, leadership, and coordination under extreme stress. The Zulu strategy involved both frontal assaults and attempts to encircle the station, using superior numbers to create psychological pressure on the defenders. Despite the relentless attacks, the garrison held firm, employing every available resource, including captured rifles, makeshift firing positions, and the natural advantages of their defensive layout. Exhaustion, hunger, and the constant threat of death tested every man's endurance, yet their cohesion and determination never faltered. By the early hours of the following morning, the Zulu attacks began to lose intensity. After nearly 10 hours of continuous combat, the warriors withdrew to the surrounding hills, regrouping and observing the British position before finally retreating as reinforcements approached from the main British force. The aftermath revealed the staggering intensity of the engagement. Hundreds of Zulu warriors lay dead or wounded around the station, while the defenders had suffered relatively few casualties, although many had been severely injured. The battle became legendary in Britain and the wider empire, celebrated as an extraordinary example of courage, ingenuity, and determination against overwhelming odds. 11 Victoria Crosses were awarded to members of the Rorke's Drift garrison, one of the largest numbers ever given to a single regiment for a single engagement, cementing its place in military history. Beyond the heroism of individual soldiers, the battle illustrates the tactical contrast between British fire discipline, improvised engineering, and Zulu close combat skill, as well as the cultural and psychological dimensions of warfare, including notions of honor, duty, and reputation. The Zulu warriors, despite being repelled, demonstrated exceptional bravery, tactical coordination, and endurance, reflecting a highly developed military system inherited from Shaka and maintained by his successors, emphasizing age-based regimental structure, cohesion, and rapid offensive action. Detailed accounts describe how some Zulu warriors attempted to rush the barricades multiple times despite heavy casualties, while others tried to flank the defenders by moving through difficult terrain, demonstrating both strategic understanding and relentless courage. Over time, Rorke's Drift has been extensively studied in military history, commemorated in films, literature, and museums, and debated for its strategic significance, casualty figures, and symbolism. The battle also illustrates the impact of morale and leadership, showing how a small, well-led, and determined force can resist a much larger opponent when defensive preparation, discipline, and quick adaptation are applied effectively. It serves as a testament to human resilience, the extremes of courage under fire, and the complex interplay of culture, strategy, and circumstance that defined the Anglo-Zulu War and colonial conflicts in the 19th century, illustrating both the valor of the British defenders and the formidable capability and commitment of the Zulu fighters who challenged them. The legacy of Rorke's Drift continues to inform historical understanding of small unit actions, frontier warfare, and the human capacity for endurance, creativity, and heroism in situations of extreme adversity, while simultaneously offering insight into the broader consequences of imperial expansion and indigenous resistance, and how these forces shaped the military, cultural, and political landscapes of South Africa for decades to come, influencing both British military doctrine and Zulu historical memory.